Well, hello, welcome to my channel. So, my name is Kate and I really like to sew, but I'm also a little cheap sometimes. I love to thrift. Like, it's a super fun activity. I could be out all day thrifting. And so one of the best things that I find at thrift stores is sewing supplies. I get a ton of my sewing supplies from the thrift store. It's a really cheap, really affordable way to fully stock up on stuff, to find really interesting fabrics, and in some cases to get a lot of fabric for not a lot of money. So it's one of my favorite things to do, and I thought that I would show you guys some of the stuff that I have picked up recently. This is not all one thrift store or one trip. This is probably about three and a bunch of different thrift stores kind of all combined into one. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is my washed fabrics already. So this is stuff that I picked up a little bit ago. I've had a chance to wash it and bolt it. So one is this super nice thick cotton with a blue stripe. It's a really, really thick weave. So I don't know exactly how much of it is there, but I paid $10 for the whole thing, which is not as good a deal as I had hoped it was. I thought it was more fabric. It was on a huge roll that was about as tall as I was. Or I am, and so I thought it was a little bit more fabric than it is, but nevertheless, it's a really nice one. I also picked up these two tablecloths. So I do really love to look through the linens. Tablecloths and sheets can be a really great way to get pretty sizable hunks of fabric for very, very inexpensive prices. So both of these were about $3, so I paid $6 total. It's a boatload of fabric. It's a really nice cream and green kind of checked weave. And it's nice. It'll make some kind of nice garment. I also grabbed this Mama Jamma. So this is some kind of a brocade type of fabric. The one downside to doing thrifting fabrics is that fabric type is my best guess. I don't really know what it is. I don't necessarily know what it's made out of. It's just kind of what does it feel like and how does it drape is kind of the big things. So there is a ton of this one. It is, again, this was another one that was on a roll that was about as tall as I am. It's a ton of fabric. I had to wash this by itself. It filled up my whole washer. I paid $10 for all of this. So this is going to make a very nice costume of some kind. And then going back to sheets or bed linens or anything like that, I picked up this really nice sheet. It's a king size or a California king. It's gigantic. And it's got this really nice little pattern detail on it, kind of like a lacy embroidery situation. So I am planning to make a petticoat out of this. I thought this would be a really nice piece of decoration for the hem. And yeah, this whole thing was maybe a couple of dollars, but I don't quite remember. So super excited about that one. And then I also picked up all of this. It's some kind of woven fabric. It's probably a synthetic or a synthetic blend. Don't know for sure. But it's this cream with a blue, and it's got little specks of pink and yellow and a darker blue and some gray in there. So it's a really nice kind of multi-dimensional fabric. I'm thinking about making some kind of coat or light coat, light jacket kind of situation out of it. But yeah, that should be really nice. It's pretty soft too, which is great. All right. Before we get to my unwashed fabrics, the other thing that I really love to find is lace and trims. I buy almost none of mine full price unless I'm looking for something very, very specific that I know I need for something like insertion lace, because I almost never come across that. But all of my lace trims, so this is a really big, really nice kind of like peachy color. There's a pretty big amount of that one. I've got a little bit of black lace, some blue, let me see here, another blue. These I've had a chance to roll up so that they're not just like chilling in like giant bags. Usually I'll find them where it's like 3 rolls of something in a Ziploc bag for $1. So total all of this I probably paid $3 for. So I've got a little bit of yellow, a nice cream, a whole bunch of white and ivory laces of varying sizes and widths and patterns, which is great. I've also got a little bit of this very roughly white, which is nice. This is, I know it looks dicey, but this right here, it's not a blood stain, it's rust from, it was like stapled to the little roll that it was on, so I had to pull out these big giant staples. So it's just a little bit of rust. It's pretty close to the front. I might just cut that out depending on where it goes in my design. So got that. And then with it was a little bit of kind of the same thing, a very similar pattern, but in a cream or kind of like an ivory color. So that's pretty much in a complete spool. And then one of my favorite things that I have found is all of this green velvet ribbon. It's got this really nice like dot pattern embroidery stitch situation on the edges, and it's this really lovely like olivey green kind of color. It's super velvety and soft. It's so nice. I have been holding on to it for a little bit because I don't know what to use it for, and I don't want to waste it because I love it so much and I've never seen anything like it anywhere else that I've been. So one of my favorite things. Don't know what I'm going to use it for yet. Let's see if we're going to... Oh no. We'll plop that out of the way. All right. And then the last little group of stuff to go through is my unwashed fabric. So this is the stuff that I picked up very recently. I think it was like 3 days ago. I went out to the coast with my mom and my sister, and I found a whole bunch of really nice things while I was out there. So let's see. And this stuff I do want to keep separate from my washed fabrics just because it's a good practice, you know, to wash everything that you find at the thrift store, obviously, before you use it. You just never know. The other thing is I like to go through my fabrics because frequently I will find pins and stuff. So in the lace and the ribbons and just chilling in the middle of fabrics, I'll find pins and all sorts of stuff. I also really like to thrift patterns, and there'll be pins in there a lot too. So something to watch out for. Make sure you don't stab yourself with a pin of mystery origin. That seems like something you don't want to do. So I like to go through everything first and, you know, make sure it's washed and clean and not going to stab me. So, all right. The first thing is all of this. It is, again, some kind of a brocade material. It's pretty thick, pretty heavy. It's got this almost like 70s-esque kind of color palette going on with it, but it reminds me a little bit of the American Girl Felicity. She had this dress that she wore in the books, and it had little like pink flowers, little roses kind of on it, but I always imagined that the fabric would be something kind of like this. Is that historically accurate? Probably not. It probably was not this kind of fabric, but in my head that's always kind of what it was. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this yet. It's a ton of fabric. It was $10 for all of this, so I'm excited to get this washed and figure out what to do with it. I also picked up some fabric quarters or fat quarters. These are just a really nice sort of like homespunny floral kind of feeling to it. I think all of these were in a bag with a bunch of lace trims and some buttons and some fake flowers and all of that for $1. So awesome. I got a little bit of, oh my goodness, rolling it the wrong way. Here we go. Okay. This, it's quite a bit of fabric. It is sort of like, it's almost like a stretch knit, but not quite. It's not very stretchy if it is, but it's a really lightweight kind of black and white weave. So it gives it this gray look. I don't typically work with anything that has a stretchy component to it. So this will be a nice learning experiment to try to figure something out. I might do like a lightweight summer dress or something out of it because it is so light. It feels like that might be kind of nice for something like that. Got a little bit of this. So this is a woven. I think it's a cotton, but it has this little kind of like rusty orangey brown and blue check pattern to it. It's quite thin. It's a really nice lightweight cotton, maybe kind of like a dress shirt kind of a weight, kind of that feel to it. So interesting. Can't wait to see what I come up with for that one. So another one is this. It's, I think, a linen or a linen blend, but it's this really nice like plummy eggplant color. This whole thing was $3, and it's nice. I don't know exactly how much is in here. It's folded up pretty small, but I might have enough to make like a shirt or something out of it, and so that's pretty cool. Excited to see that. My last piece of fabric is the one that I am probably the most excited about out of all of it. So I found all of this. It was $4. It is a really dense weave, and it's got this really pretty little scallop design, And inside of the scallop, it's got this light pink and this light blue decoration. And so right now, a big project that I'm about to start is an Edwardian outfit. And so I'm going from the foundations up. So chemise, corset cover, petticoats, skirt, shirtwaist, hat, the whole nine works, or 9 yards. But the two laces that I have that I was planning on using for this, which is this like peachy pinky color and this light blue, actually go really perfectly with this. So I'm going to use this and make like a summer weight corset out of it and use this for my trim on my chemise and everything is going to go so well together. It's going to be super matchy and thematic, and I really love that. So really excited about that one. And then the last thing is actually not a piece of fabric, but it's a skirt. And so one thing that I do like to do is I size up in skirts, and just in general. So I'll look through men's clothing, I'll look through larger sizes than what I typically wear, because it's the same price, but you get a lot more fabric. It makes it a little bit more flexible if you're going to deconstruct it and use it for something else. So I found this skirt, which is quite lovely. It is definitely too big for me, so I'm going to take it in a little bit, but it's got this really nice lace ruffle situation, so I thought it would be a really nice petticoat with really minimal effort to turn it into that. So I'm going to wash it, give it a good bleach, and then work on this waistband, and I should have a really nice little petticoat in almost no time at all. So that is pretty much the last of it. That's all of the really good stuff. I've also picked up trims, rickrack, piping, seam binding, buttons, sort of like small miscellaneous things. It's always super cheap, and it's a really nice way to sort of stock up on some of that stuff because you never know what you're going to need when you get into different projects. So I think that is pretty much about it. So if you like this video, give it a like and a thumbs up. That would be great. Super helps me out. I know I'm new, but if you want to see more of whatever it is that I'm going to get up to in sewing, then subscribe, stick around, come back, check on me. That would be great. And I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.